All right, in this video, we are going to jump into Judges chapter 3. We're going to cover about 6 verses, and it's right before the introduction of our very first judge. So join me for our grand finale in the preparation stages of Judges as we prepare our hearts and begin to understand what was going on in the hearts and the minds of these Israelites as they got led into a situation where they needed a judge to come and rescue them. Jump on in. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you.
All right, we are going to be in Judges chapter 3 today. We're going to hit about 6 verses. We're going to cover the last little bit of this preamble that we have going on before we get to the very first judge. And so I already let the cat out of the bag. Othniel, he's related to Caleb, and we read about him a little bit in chapter 2. And so we're going to jump into that one. In the next video, we will finally hit our first judge. Today, we want to talk about this concept of testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. It's like you're checking to see, is the microphone on? Is everything working? And here we're going to see God apply some testing. And there's a couple of things I want us to take away from this lesson. And so these are the nations the Lord left in order to test all those in Israel who had experienced none of the wars in Canaan. This was to teach the future generations of the Israelites how to fight in battle, especially those who had not fought before. These nations included the 5 rulers of the Philistines and all the Canaanites, the Sidonians, and the Hivites, who lived in the Lebanese mountains from Mount Baal Hermon as far as the entrance to Hamath. So here we see that we're beginning to see a little bit of picture of what God does for his people, right? Because he understands the weakness and the frailty of who we are. And he also understands that sometimes we don't have a clear view of ourselves. We have blind spots. We can't see correctly. We don't think it's as bad as it is. And so he has to let us into some situations where we get to understand what's actually going on and not just our theory, what we feel like is going on. And so let's go ahead and jump into. So some of the enemies were left to teach them how to war. Sorry for the misspelling there. So they wanted to teach them how to war. And so they needed enemies around them so that they could learn how to fight battles. Because the Promised Land was a land of conquest. The Promised Land was a place where battles needed to be won, but they had no experience. And so God, in his gracious wisdom, sets it up so that not all of these people are eradicated all at one time, and they are there to then help teach them how to war, how to fight these battles. And so then let's jump to the next slide. The Lord left them to test Israel to determine if they would keep the Lord's commands he had given their ancestors through Moses. But they settled among the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And the Israelites took their daughters as wives for themselves, gave their own daughters to their sons, and worshipped their gods. And there is no greater intermingling, compromising way that they could have gone about this. They settled among them. That was bad enough, right? Because, here we are. The Lord left them to test them, but they settled. The Lord left them to test them, to teach them how to fight. And when you read over in Deuteronomy chapter 7, he is literally like, I am going to knock them out of the way for you. It's not even going to be funny. God was going to come in and he was going to demolish them. He literally tells them, hey, Don't worry about if you feel like you're not big enough, you're not strong enough. Don't worry if you think that the enemy is too big, is too strong, is too mighty, is too fortified, has iron chariots. Don't worry about those things, because the thing that is greater is the promise of God about where he was taking them. But they settled. They settled to just take what was in front of them, what was easy. They chose not to trust God beyond the things that they could see in the natural. The times when their hearts would kind of fail because they think, oh, I'm not strong enough, big enough, I don't have enough skill. But they settled. They settled, and then even worse, then they intermarried, and that kind of just mixed up the whole covenant community, right? And so it's like a total opposite of what God told them to do. And much like the working title that we have for this book, The Failure Through Compromise. Man, I'm telling you what, it is because they compromised on the instructions from God and they did what was right in their own eyes. They fail because they just don't listen and obey, because God had already given them the instructions that they needed to succeed. Verse 16 of Deuteronomy 7, you must destroy all the peoples the Lord your God is delivering over to you, and not look on them with pity. Do not worship their gods, for that will be a snare to you. And so they just went and did everything that God told them they should not do in order to not compromise their hearts with the gods of those nations. And so the lesson for us today is recognize that the challenging things that can be brought into our lives can be there. Yes, they're testing and they're hard, but God is using the testing to prove things in us so that we are more healthy, that we are purer, that we are more mature, that we have fighting capabilities. He knows what we need, and he puts the obstacles in the path that are going to properly strengthen us to do the things that he has called us to do. And so with that, just a big, hearty God bless you. I appreciate you watching the videos. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, if you're getting value out of these videos, if you could just make sure you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. YouTube is suggesting a video right about here for you to check out. So go ahead and check out the next video.